In today's episode of Project 86, we'll be installing lowering springs and new dampers. This is a project that I've really been looking forward to because it should improve the ride quality, the handling characteristics, and the aesthetics of the car all at once. But before we get into the installation process, let's take a moment to look at why I chose the parts that I did. Shown here are the factory spring rates for both the GTS and SR5 models. This is an area that I really focused on when deciding what route to go with my suspension. I wanted to improve the handling, but I didn't want to do anything that would sacrifice ride quality on the street, as that's the environment where this car will primarily be used. I'd like to start off by saying that I have nothing against coilovers. I've had them on a number of cars and really enjoyed them, but in my opinion most of the offerings for the AE86 have way too much spring and not enough damper for the street. Spring rates in the 8 and 9 kg per millimeter range, or even higher, are not uncommon to see with AE86 coilovers. Some people may like that, but it's not what I was looking for with this car. After doing a lot of research, I settled on a set of Megan Racing lowering springs because they most closely matched what I was looking for. They're rated at 250 pound per inch in the front and 225 pound per inch in the rear, which is roughly 4.5 kg per millimeter in the front and 4 kg per millimeter in the rear. Here's the percent increase over the factory spring rates of both models as a reference. These springs should definitely improve the handling over stock, but the spring rates are still mild enough that they should be very compliant on the street. And the last thing that I would like to mention is that Megan Racing claims these springs will lower the car 1.85 inches front and rear. I measured the ride height of the car before and after the installation to see what the actual drop is, and all that information will be provided at the end of the video. So with all that out of the way, let's get into the installation. I chose to start on the back half of the car, and as you'd expect, the first step is to raise the car up into the air. Later on, you'll need the suspension to be fully uncompressed, so the next step is to carefully lower the pinch welds onto jack stands. Now you can go ahead and remove both rear wheels. You'll need to be able to move the rear damper out of the way, so start by removing the bolt that secures it to the axle housing. Then move to the trunk and remove the jam nut from the top side. And follow that by loosening the nut that secures the damper to the car. Now you can pull the damper off the axle housing and slowly lower it down. At this point, you're ready to remove the factory springs. If you're lucky, you may be able to remove the springs without compressing them. But since I already had compressors to do the front, I went ahead and used them for this as well. In preparation for the lower ride height, I removed one notch from the factory bump stops. And now you can put in the new springs. Since they're shorter than the stock ones, you definitely won't need to use compressors. Now you can use the jack to raise the rear axle back into its position. Now you're ready to put the rear dampers back on. And since I replaced mine only a couple months ago, I just reused the ones that I already had on the car. Reinstall and fasten all the hardware in the opposite order that you removed it. Now you can put the wheels back on and torque down all the lug nuts. Finally, you can lower the car back down and get it turned around so you can begin working on the front. Go ahead and loosen the front lug nuts while the car is still on the ground. Then you can raise the car up. Now you can fully remove the wheels. Begin by removing the retaining clip that holds the brake line onto the strut. Next you'll need to remove the brake caliper, which can be done by removing the two 17mm bolts that hold it onto the spindle from the back side. Once the brake caliper is removed, you can use a bungee cord or a piece of wire to hold it up out of the way. Next you'll need to remove the two bolts that connect the strut assembly to the lower ball joint. And to make removing the strut assembly easier, I would recommend disconnecting the sway bar end links from the lower control arm. Next you can move into the engine bay and remove the three nuts that secure the strut assembly to the body of the car. And then you'll be ready to remove the strut assembly. I used a crowbar to push the lower control arm down out of the way to free up some space and make this easier. With this removed from the car, you can begin disassembling it. Start by putting on the spring compressors and tightening them down to remove the spring tension off of the strut. I then used an impact gun to remove the top hat. Then it's just a matter of removing the remaining pieces. Then you'll be ready to remove the damper from the strut tube. A pipe wrench is a good tool for breaking this loose. Something makes me think that this old damper might have been blown. Anyways, you're ready to install the new one along with the new supplied hardware. And once again, you can use the pipe wrench to tighten it down. Now you're ready to start putting everything back together in the opposite order that you removed it, starting with the dust boot. And finally, you can tighten everything back together with the impact gun. Now you can begin fitting the rebuilt strut assembly back into the car. I put the bottom two bolts back in first. Which I then followed by reconnecting the sway bar end link to the lower control arm. At this point, you can go ahead and reinstall the brake caliper and tighten it down. Then I put the brake line back into place and tapped down the retaining clip. And lastly, I tightened the 3 nuts securing the top of the strut assembly to the body of the car. All that's left to do now is reinstall the front wheels and lower the front end of the car back down. Before I began this project, I measured the distance from the ground to the edge of the fenders, as seen in this picture. After completing the project, I gave the new suspension a week to settle and retook the same measurements, and here are the results. With the stock springs, this ground to fender distance was measured at 24 3/4 of an inch in the front and 25 1/2 inches in the rear. After installing the Megan Racing springs, those same distances were measured at 23 1/4 inches in the front and 24 inches even in the rear. This equates to a 1 1/2 inch lower ride height in both the front and the rear. While it's not quite the 1.85 inches that Megan Racing advertises, it's very close and it may settle a little more over time. As it is, I'm really happy with these springs and I would definitely recommend them to anybody that's considering them. If you found this video helpful or just interesting and you want to see more AE86 content, don't forget to like and subscribe. And also, if there's anything that you guys would like to see done to this car, just put it in the comments and you might see it in one of the next videos. As long as it's reasonable, of course. But anyways, if you've made it this far, thanks for watching, and we'll see you in the next one.